Iron Squire coming to you guys again. We've got episode 106, and it's untitled because I couldn't come up with a title in time. But I've got Armies of Mordor back with me, so I guess if you come up with a better title by the end of this, tell me, and that's what the title will be when we port this out to YouTube. But Armies of Mordor is here. He's going to talk about his deck that's been taking the constructed scene by storm. We're going to have him talk about that a little bit. And you know, it's running our favorite guy, the Hierophant. I'm going to talk to you about the deck that I'm going to be running tomorrow. We're going to talk about some of the Hex news that's been going on in the community, give away some packs. Of course, if you're here live, stick around after the show because we do give away packs at the end of the show. And yeah, so Armies of Mordor, welcome back to the show. Good to see you again. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me.
So what have you been doing lately in Hex? Like, what have you been working on or doing?
I played quite a bit on the test realm this week, but mostly I've just been watching other people play it on Twitch.
Right. Yeah. So so the ranking, do you feel like it's easy? How hard do you think it's going to be to get into those top ranks, into the what is it called? The I forget what the final rank's called now. It's not primal. It's something else. Cosmic. How hard do you think it's going to be for people to get into Cosmic?
It's probably not going to be that difficult to just get into Cosmic. It's getting into the top 100 Cosmic that's going to be the difficult part.
Well, sure. Because I know even in you know, Hearthstone, which is what we've compared this to a lot, like I have still yet to have gotten to Legendary. I mean, I don't try super hard because I don't have that kind of time, but like, you know, I had, you know, it takes time to work up and down. Of course, they have many more levels. I mean, comparatively, like we have 6 levels, whereas they have like 20 or more levels because you start at 20 and then you work up and then Legendary and all that stuff. So
Yeah, well, so the way it works is there's like different tiers in the levels.
right,
So that you have to earn a certain number of stars to get from like you started at bronze 5 or whatever, and you move up like kind of like League of Legends, where it's like bronze 4, bronze 3, bronze
right.
2, bronze 1, silver 5. So I made it to like gold 1 before I stopped playing on the test server, and that was like 2 days, like not full days, but
Were you running specific decks to get there, or
nope,
what? Nope,
nope.
just
I
random
was
stuff.
I was testing for the sake of testing for the test server. I know
Mm-hmm.
some people probably played like the same deck through, just trying to race to get to the top.
To
But
Cosmic, yeah.
I was
I
just
saw
playing
someone
a
post,
bunch
they're
of
like, it's
different decks to
lonely up
try to
here.
find any bugs to report.
They're like, it's lonely up here because they were like Cosmic 1 because they were the only person that made it there.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was kind of fun. So with the gold, I heard that we were getting gold when you rank up the first time. Is that true, or how's that working out for
Yeah,
you?
there were a bunch of different prizes that you got. So you get the AA Arcane Focus and the AA Scorch. When you rank up to certain ranks, you also get gold and packs when you rank up to certain ranks, but only when the first time you achieve that rank that season.
Right. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I was hoping more for like a gold per game, like 100 gold per game you win or something. But I mean, I'm sure that works out well too. Of course, I'm also hoping, like, because we had some comments on YouTube last week where they were talking about they didn't want more gold to be put in the system because they feel like they want gold to have more value. One of my YouTube people, and I'm all for that too. I just like to be incentivized to do things, and so it always feels better for me not to just play games against random people, because once in a while, like, the people I'm playing aren't playing seriously, like they're just whatever, and then it feels like a waste of time to me. But if I had gold, at least I get gold, you know, at the end of that. But I'm also pro for, like we had back in set 1, taking some of the common staples, making alternate arts of those, and putting those for sale on the store. I hope that comes back because we haven't seen that come back yet, and I think that would be a great gold sink for the community to have.
I mean, there were on the test server a bunch of different commons that have AAs.
Hmm.
So it's possible that some of them might be some new AAs for us to buy with gold. I don't know. Some of them were definitely from like some random event that was on there. Like I won I did a draft and I won one
Right.
round and then everyone left. Like, so whatever, I got first place, but it gave me an alternate art impulse
Oh, okay.
that had Chark on it throwing dice, like he was gambling or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so there
Irish
were a couple of others too, but
Irish Batusi, one of my longtime followers, is saying in chat that the rewards you get 2 times from sealed and once from constructed. So, okay.
well, no, he's saying that there's two different because there's two different ladders, one
Oh,
for
okay.
constructed,
Okay,
one
so you
for
could get
sealed.
it twice. Okay, I
Draft.
see what he's saying.
Yeah, so you can climb the ladder on constructed, get all the rewards for getting all the way up, and then if you play enough limited, you could get free rewards for ranking up on there too. But the limited does cost money because you're opening packs to play limited. So,
All right. Well, without any further ado, let's go ahead and go over to the YouTube giveaway. Of course, we do these every week, so if you are on YouTube, make sure you're commenting so you get a chance to win. So here we go. We're gonna roll this off, and this is for a draft. I give away a draft every week here and a draft every week on the live show. So make sure you're commenting. I want this to be a forum for people to request things for me to do on the show, and then also just to talk about Hex and like their ideas. And I take all criticism. Pretty seriously, and I try to answer people back. Like that one comment came from that we just talked about was. I'm not seeing him on here now for some reason, and I'm not seeing the person that made that comment about the gold. Oh wait, maybe it was down here in the replies. Yes, Sebastian Bowles. So that was in response to him when we were talking. So I count up 4. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Sebastian I would have counted as, or actually I guess he would be 4, right? Because 1, 2, 3. That his first comment is here on 4. So yeah, so it looks like Sebastian is our winner of the draft pack this week. So get me your IGN. So congratulations to Sebastian Bolson. Thanks for commenting and giving me some food for thought, something to talk about this week. I always appreciate that. Of course, we've got the public test realm that's live, and what they had said on the 5 Shards podcast is that they were copying people's collections over. Can you confirm how that's working, or are they just giving you stuff?
okay, so whatever your collection was like a week and a half ago or something is when they pulled the data from.
Okay.
But they also gave you an astronomically large amount of platinum to buy packs with.
So you could just buy stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. See, so for new players especially, like they can go over there and have a lot of fun for a limited time and play with some super powerful cards. I think
or
that's
just
great.
play draft and sealed for free.
Or just do that. So I think that for everybody, especially new players and free-to-play players, this is a great chance for you to get a lot of value if you want to go over to public test realm. And
yeah, you'll have to wait for the next one though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it already ended.
Oh, it ended already. Okay. Well, I thought that it was still going, so apologies for that. Moving on, we've got the Pro Player Tournament that is coming. This came down this last week. It's going to be some sort of Primal Dawn, Armies of Myth, best of 3 single elimination for the top 8 on a limited scale, and then I believe it's going to be constructed tournaments leading up to that. So Swiss constructed. I'm not sure how many people are going to be playing in this. Of course, I'm in this because I'm one of the Kickstarter members, so I should be playing in one of these. You get to play in one or the other, I believe. So we've got Saturday, July 16th, 2 of them, 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time and whatever that is, Central European Time, 10 a.m. Central European Time. So are you going to be playing in these, or this is in July? Next week?
I do not have a pro tier.
Okay. Well, then it's going to be very limited. I don't even know how many pro players are going to come out. I know a lot of them have kind of gone away from Hex. I'm sure some of the people that I used to know that used to do a lot more active stuff in the community will be around, like John from the old Hex TCG Pro crew, and some of those guys will probably be around. But it'll be interesting to see who shows up for that. Seems like this is. I thought this had already happened, actually. I thought this.
No, it's like next
way
month
back.
somewhere time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought this happened back in like set 2 or set 1 sometime, and that was our pro player tournament. I was like, this is kind of not fun. So it's a good thing that it's happening now. I think that we're in a good spot for this to finally happen. 4 sets feels like it's a good chunk of cards that we can build out with. I think it's going to be good. So Armies, I don't know if you have any other further comments on that, but there you go.
Good luck to people who participate. I look forward to see what spicy brews people might come up with.
All right. Moving on, we've got the update for the VIP weekend. Of course, there's a tournament that's going on right now. It started, was it Friday at 1900? So
12 minutes ago.
So yeah, you're already playing in yours, is what it sounds like.
I'm not playing.
Oh, you're not playing in it? You'll be playing tomorrow? Or
no.
You're not playing at all? Okay, you'll be playing
I
tomorrow.
thought I usually play in the constructed ones.
Oh, you don't usually?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the chances of winning is maybe less so than the limited. Seems like people are not as good at deck building as they are at just basically pulling people's lists and playing them. So, but then again, I mean, there's 2 sides to that. So, but yeah, we got VIP the weekend. I'm going to try to play tomorrow. I'm going to show you the deck that I'm thinking about playing. I'll probably play. I probably won't do that well. My best I've done on one of these is 3-1. So, you know, I mean, that's still pretty good. So if I can go 2-2, I'm pretty happy for a tournament like this. Of course, if you go 4-0, you get 2 copies of Psionic Flame and 1 of Grace of Tienos. I've already got 1 of each of these, and so I'm pretty happy about that. We've got Paying It Forward. It looks like there's a Kickstarter for something called Tactical Survival Warfare. I'm not sure what that is.
It's some FPS game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the last FPS that I'll probably play for a very long time is Overwatch, so I don't know that I have room in my heart or life for another FPS as a person that really doesn't play a lot of FPS to begin with. So that's pretty much the news. There's not really a lot. I don't know if there's anything else going on your side of things. We've got the 5-shard tournaments are coming up as well, so I want to plug for those. And that's like every weekend. There's also a weekday tournament, and the very first one is happening on July 4th, which happens to be Independence Day for all of the United States people. But there's like 30 of them, so if you miss that one, it's not a big deal, and they're all free, so it just gets you great value. It's going to hopefully get a lot of people out there playing more constructed. I'd like to see that especially. So are you going to be
I like these tournaments because I'll actually be able to play in them.
Right. Yeah, it's a timing thing and sometimes, and yeah, so that's how it goes. So moving on, speaking of the deck that I'll be playing tomorrow, so here's the one I've been toying around with, and I've already made a change to it because Armiesofmordor came on, and with his, he's been spending a little bit more time in the game than I have. He's already replaced one of my cards. I had, I don't even remember what it was. It's basically draw 2 and discard 1, and you can empower it to double it, so draw 4, discard 2, but Lanupaw's Sight probably does a little bit better for me. I have to wait a turn to get the cards, but I'm drawing 3 cards, so this may be better for me. But the idea here is that we're going to play Cyclone Shaper, and of course we're playing, what's it called, the champion?
Winter Moon.
We're playing Winter Moon, yeah, so I called this Cyclone Moon or Moon Cyclone or something. But basically we're going to try to empower this guy if we can. If we can't, if we have to play it on 3, that's fine, because I had a crazy turn where I had like 2 Chlorophyllia and an Arcane Focus, and I played a Cyclone Shaper, played both of my Chlorophyllias, got enough resources to play a free Arcane Focus, and before I did that I shuffled the Chlorophyllias back in my deck, so I had a chance to redraw them, and then the next time they would have deck thinned me and drew me cards. So I mean, you end up with crazy turns like that. The problem is I now have an empty hand, so hopefully I can draw into some more gas and some other stuff with the deck. It does some okay stuff. I'm not sure if it's good enough to do exceptionally well in the current meta that we have. I've actually toyed around with also playing some more of there's like a fog type card which prevents all damage, but it also reverts all the troops that are attacking. So I thought that might be cute to play against a lot of people that are playing the Hierophant, because it will debuff him back to a 2/2. I can't kill him that turn that he attacks because it prevents all the damage, but it basically makes him less relevant in following turns. So, but I still have 3/3 rhinos that I probably have to deal with at that point in time. So maybe it's not good enough. So
I think the way you beat most of those decks is you ramp out to your mass polymorph Dingler. So
yeah, I actually thought about running like more of these. I thought about running like 2 or 3 of these in the deck because so many of the spells got super cheap if I hit my Cyclone Shaper, and especially if I hit 2 of them. Basically, almost everything in the deck is free. On top of that, I'm drawing extra cards off Wingsinger, which means I draw into my quick actions. So maybe I just need more quick actions to work with Wingsinger or something. I'm not sure exactly what I should be doing. Augur of Sirion has a chance to maybe go like make infinite rhinos, possibly if I happen to have Cyclone Shapers on the board, but that board state's probably already won me the game, honestly.
yeah,
So.
I made a deck that was all about Cyclone Shaper, and I was playing like mimics to make more Cyclone Shapers, and it was a pretty hilarious deck because if you make a replica of an empowered troop, it'll still be an empowered troop, but its cost will be the same as the original. So if you make a replica of an empowered shaper, it'll only cost you 3 to put into play, but it'll only be a 2/3 instead of a 4/6.
Right.
But it's pretty good because if it's already empowered, the mimic will be free because it costs 0 if you have an empowered one in play, and then you can play another shaper for 3, which makes all of your actions cost another -2, which means everything in your deck is -4, which means everything in your deck is free in the deck that I was playing.
Yeah, and that seems fair. I could probably try that as well. Of course, I have limited time before tomorrow. Other cards I felt like
it was more of a gimmicky deck. I wouldn't suggest anyone actually play that.
You think that what I have is better than that, at least, sort of?
Yeah. I mean, when it went off, it was hilarious, but it was playing Renlocks too, so you could mimic Renlocks.
I thought about playing
and action draw a million cards. But.
Yeah, I even tried playing I tried playing a bunch of named troops and then playing the one where you get extra turns off the named troop when you play it.
Yeah, someone was it Varanus or somebody was playing that deck on the test server. It was pretty hilarious to watch.
I mean, it seems like with that deck, you basically play nothing but named troops.
Actually, no. The way he was doing it was a mono Sapphire deck, but he was splashing blood for Extinction and Infernal Professor, and he was playing Infernal Professor to thin the deck. But mainly, he was doing it for the Karak champion because it doesn't revert. So what he would do is anytime they would kill his Windsinger or his Renlock that had take extra turn on it, he could bring it back as a zombie, and whenever he cast that zombie, he would take an extra turn.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
That's pretty slick. That's
and then he was playing a bunch of the Thunderfield cards and Lanupaw's Heights and just draw a million cards.
Right.
Put copy text on to take extra turn effects and all that. So
yeah.
it was pretty. When it went off, it was just like, I take 10 extra turns. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I considered doing that too. Maybe playing some more of the Coyotals that draw extra cards off of these and that sort of thing as well. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this does. Something like this tomorrow. Moving on, we've got the request tonight is to build a deck from a sealed pool. So I'm going to show you the deck that the person came up with. His name is it is Sbolz. Oh, it's Sbolz again. So this is the person that is doing a fan request, and he's having us look at the sealed pool that he has. Now it says 242 cards because he's got a bunch of shards in there. The deck that he came up with, he's running Wingsinger Elandria. He's trying to ramp. He's got a bunch of 1 and 2 drops. He happened to pick up a Charge Colossus in his pool. Let's see, what else has he got? It's basically just a bunch of rampy stuff. He said he's not doing too well with. He's got a Cottontail Explorer, Lyrical, and that's pretty much it. We're going to go over here. We've copied the deck over, and we're going to go ahead and dump all the cards out of it. And actually, I'd probably just go to the reserves, right? And then it'll still have them. I guess it doesn't, but so we got to figure out which shards we should go with first in here. So right off the bat, Armies was looking at this, and he said that he liked the fact that he has 2 incubation webs. So incubation webs is not seen a lot of constructed play, but it's fairly amazing in your limited play because it gets rid of pretty much every troop that's targetable, and it also puts spiders in your opponent's deck, which can eventually win you the game. So I feel like that's a fairly strong card. What else did you like, Armies? I like that guy. Of course, there's a Suffocate right next to it. I do like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's Arcane Focus and
Lanupaw sight.
Yeah,
We were just talking about
Web
that.
Guard. I was looking at making a spider deck, but our blood is pretty weak.
Yeah.
So it's probably either going to be a Sapphire Blood splashing another color or Sapphire Wild splashing blood or something like that. So I'm thinking the deck's probably going to be Uzzu, which is most of the time the case with the first. Well, this is Evo. This is Evo sealed.
Right.
So it's only 2 rares or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So he has Justicar and Charge Colossus, which aren't like Charge Colossus you could play maybe, but Justicar is not very splashable in a multi-shard deck. So it's just a matter of what kind of deck you want to build. There's also like 2 hereafters if you wanted to do some sort of OVO shenanigans, but
I like Justicar. I do like it.
It's a nice card. It's just the triple wild is pretty prohibitive.
It's hard to do. Yeah,
3 shards or 4
we'll definitely
shards.
swap out the champion first. That seems fair to me. Cannot change this deck. It's not mine. Okay, that's not the copy. Here's my copy. I guess that's why. Let's see here. So let's see. Can I do that? Yes. Okay. Sweet. So we can do that. So we want Uzzu. Uzzu. So for everybody that hasn't played Hex, Uzzu is a champion that's going to make it so that at 4 charges you can get any threshold you want. So you can have any threshold that you need for the deck. One of the cards I really dislike in Limited, and it sees some play in Constructed, is Elandriel the Sentinel. I don't know. This card just seems extremely hard to play. It says when you play this, another troop you control gets +2/+2 for each elf you control this turn. Troop gets crushed this turn. It's a 3/3 for 7. It has speed, so it's going to be able to attack in, but it's just really subpar. Actually, this isn't even the one that sees constructed play. It's the one where you do damage, it gets cheaper. That's the one that sees constructed play. But this seems like like one of the worst elf cards that you could play. So that's an easy one we can get rid of. Scion, on the other hand, is fairly good, but I don't think that we have enough necrotics to make it happen for us. We're also out of Ruby, like we said, so we're probably going to go Wild Sapphire, right?
Probably Wild Sapphire.
Yeah.
Probably Splash Blood, but Diamond is also a possibility. We'll just have to see how many cards we need after we get the best Wild in.
Tempestuous Blade Master is always good. It's fairly good card. Of course, we're coming out of Ruby, so unfortunately we have to get rid of that. Cleave is a card that I think it does extremely well when you're playing the new Orc Champion, which increases all the damage of your spells by 1. And so you can actually do 2 damage to up to 3 champions or troops. Then Cleave becomes a stupidly good sweep in limited play a lot of times. But in any other deck, it doesn't seem to do very much. I don't know. Have you had very much experience with it doing more than that, Armies?
I mean, at worst, it's a combat trick because it's quick speed. You can do it whenever you need to.
Right.
So a lot of the time, I'll play Cleave if I'm playing Ruby, even if I'm not Yodel, because there are a lot of decks that play 1 toughness things. Like 3 mana, kill 3 spiders is still relevant.
Right.
Kill a bunch of the 1 toughness Swift Strikers
like
that are in the format.
On that time.
Nah,
when you're killing spiders
because
like that.
It's still a combat trick for other things. So, like, if you're attacking with a 2/2 and they have a 2/3, you can kill their 2/3 and maybe some 1 toughness creature they have. Cleave is very versatile. It's obviously best in the Yodel deck, but I've played it plenty in, like, the McBomus deck or other Ruby Diamond aggro or whatever, where you just need to be able to push through that last bit by, like, if you have a lot of Swift Strike, Cleave is pretty good too. So
yeah, your Blade Juggler is probably not going to do too much for you. He's probably just going to maybe get a trade for you, but it's fairly weak for your opponent to have to deal with. Skewer is always good in every deck. As far as Ruby, I'm just kind of going through the Ruby and trying to go through like how good some of these cards were for him. Ashwood Soloist is good, and then sometimes it's bad. You know, it's bad in the late game when your opponent has any type of board. It's good in the early game if you can get it in early enough. If you need the ramp off of it, the Lyrical Chanter actually gets much better after we swap champions because we actually get chance that we might be out of that shard, but we can still play later.
Yep.
So Lyrical Chanter gets ridiculously better. Eagle Claw Orb, I've seen some people play.
I would cut it.
Yeah, I don't really see that becoming a thing that we need. It just, we would rather have a body than playing that card. Harvest Moon's another one that
I'd cut it.
It only works in the Winter Moon deck. Okay, this is only if it works at all.
It can work in the life game deck.
Well, yeah,
because
it
is quick.
There's better life gainers. There's better life gainers than this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but if you're struggling for cards, it is playable as like your 23rd card or something in the life game deck.
Yeah, but yeah, in the formats, I mean, especially since we went up to 18 card packs, struggling for cards. I mean, that's a really bad situation if you're in.
Well, like this is Evo sealed, so
yeah, that's true. So
it can be easy to struggle for cards.
Emberleaf Duelist is another solid card that you can play, especially with that Swift Strike. You get your combat tricks in Ruby already. You get your damage you're dealing, so it does fairly well. So some of those cards were fairly good. Some of them were borderline unplayable. First things first on that. The rest of these, I think actually he's got some fairly good stuff. We're going to go back and forth on this Justicar because even with Uzzu, the Bonewalker, we may have some issues playing it, but I don't think it should be too hard to get to. You know, what do you think?
We could probably leave it in for now. It depends how heavy of a splash we're going to play for a third or a fourth color.
Right.
If we have enough to make a playable Wild Sapphire where we don't need to splash any double threshold cards, then it's probably fine. I would definitely cut the Snarling Ambusher though. It's usually just mediocre, even though it's a 3/2 quick.
I mean, usually you're going to play it in response to your opponent's attack phase, and then like you're going to trade maybe with it. Like once in a while, you'll get value out of it where like you won't trade, but that's not going to happen. And especially now, there's just much better things than the Snarling Ambusher that are also quick at 3, I believe. I believe there's something better that he may have in his pool. We'll see. We'll go and get rid of all the shards, and we'll bring those back later just so we have good counts on our stuff. Of course, we're looking at 22 to 24 playable cards depending on what our curve is doing. We're probably going to be running a high curve, so we may end up running 18 shards and 22 cards with the Charge Colossus.
We do have a Lyricist and a Cottontail and a Skydancer,
right.
So 17 shards probably fine.
Right, exactly, yeah. I was going to mention that. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things you have to really kind of feel out. If this is your only big, 6+ drop, I think you're fine, like you were saying, especially because we have the ramp. Other things that are going to cost a lot if we empower our Justicar is going to be 6, but we can play it cheaper. Empower has just become so great, I think.
Power is a great limited mechanic.
I think it's great, and it's great in every format. I actually hope it comes back in future formats. So. All right, so let's go ahead and turn off everything but Sapphire and Wild here. So we got the Sapphire and the Wild, and we can keep the Shardless on, although there's typically not that many artifacts that we're going to have in there. We've got the Incubation Webs, so let's go ahead and throw those into the main deck. Let's see, what do I guess do I go to all cards to do that? No. How do I move things back from his reserves? It's got it in a funny way that it did this.
I don't know. I always find trying to make sealed decks in the TCG browser is cumbersome.
Yeah, it seems like it is. I'm going to refresh the page and see if that helps out a bit. I think it's because I had Uzzu up on top, and that's why. Maybe this will help. Okay, let's go to all cards and see if that's where, okay. I'll just use the reserves as reference. That's what we'll do. We'll just do it that way. So go PvP, and then we want just the Sapphire and the Wild. This was easier before. I remember there was a way where you can get it so that this pool is your all cards there was a way to do that. But we've got Incubation Webs. We definitely want that.
Yeah, maybe like on the book icon where it says like collection or something, or like if you click on that, it usually changes the tab. I don't know if it would let you add it to the deck or not from the reserves that way.
Maybe. Let me see here. See if there's an option for it. I swear there's an option for it. Huh. Let's see. Let's go over to this tab and see if there's a thing. It just says collection. Okay, I'm not too worried about it. I'll just work around it. I can actually, you know what we can do is we can go back and forth. I can go back and forth from here and just look at the reserves over here and not lose my place that way. So that'll work. Yes.
So Thunderfield Seer, Arcane Focus, Lanupaw Sight, Nask Webguard are some solid includes to begin with.
Right. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and get those Incubation Webs, 2 of those. And you said Lanupaw Sight. Yeah, just turn this on to PvP as well. And choose my shards. There we go. That'll narrow things down. I think we already had Lanupaw's Sight, or maybe not. Oh, I guess not. Just one of those, though, right?
Yep, just one.
Just one of those. Let's see. And you said, what did you say was the other one?
Nask Webguard. The old 2-mana 1/4 that has value with your Incubation Webs making spiders.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I was actually talking to someone the other day, and what has he got? 2 of these?
Just one.
Just the one. Yeah, this guy, like, if you're gonna go limited and you go spiders, like, and you're on your pack 3, pick 1, and this is in it, this is pretty much like your pick. If you're spiders, this is it, because he just dominates board states. Like, if your opponent doesn't answer this card,
so
eventually, and you draw like any spiders whatsoever, you just screwed up their whole strategy.
So the draft that I played one match of that ended afterwards on the PTR, I picked up the Nask Webguard in the 3rd pack. I first picked pack 1, the 0/5 Tribunal Magistrate, because that card is insane in spiders. And I proceeded to end up getting like 3 Skitters, 2 Azurfang Decrees. My deck was insane. It just, the only thing it lacked was removal, but Webguard just taps down everything. Yeah.
Yeah, he just
Who cares if you can kill their troops if you just exhaust them every turn?
Yeah, the Suffocate, I think, also definitely works for us.
Yeah, the Lunacy is possible if we want to go for like more berry to get the spiders, but that's
as a 1-of, I think it's fair. It's okay.
It's kind of a decision point.
Lunacy is a card that if they have 1 spider in play, it basically, the game is almost over. The game is 5 turns from being over. Oh wait, no, I'm not thinking of Lunacy. I'm thinking of the one where when you deal damage. What's that?
Yeah, that's the constant Psychic Torment.
Psychic Torment, that's the one. Yeah, if he has Psychic Torment, he has to play it, I'd say. I don't think he has it though.
No, we could definitely play Psionic Acolyte though. It's a reasonable body and an effect that could be relevant to our games. Okay. Time Flux is a reasonable trick.
Psionic Acolyte, and then you said Time Flux. Time Flux, okay. And then what else have we got here?
So then
Arcane
the question
Focus-ish,
is,
maybe.
Arcane Focus is fine. So then the question is starting to become, which of our other shards is the best to play some other cards in? Yeah, because there's like Periphagy, Vampire Kiss, Festering Decay, and Blood for removal.
Right.
And then in Diamond, there's Shard Ward, Shield Bash are the main combat tricks in there. We don't have any of the good removal.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't play Periphagy just because of threshold requirements. Vampire Kiss I'd play. Eggblight Afflictor I would consider. Rotcast I'd have a hard time playing that. The double threshold I think, because our main shards are Sapphire and Wild, and that's going to be most of the shards in our deck. I mean, how do you feel about that? We've got the Shard Call could help out if you go Diamond. Spiritbound Spy probably doesn't do much.
And then there's the other option. We could just add more chants. Like we have a Verdant chant that we could add.
I think the
Smashodon.
Yeah, I think the chants might actually do more work for us. Or just play more constants. Let's just see what kind of constants we have here.
I think it's just Verdant chant, Fury chant.
Yeah, I mean, the Verdant chant, easy choice. The Fury chant, less so for me, just because it may end up just doing the 2 damage and then that's it. You know, it's kind of like, okay, it just means play this for 1 and do 2 damage to your opponent's face, which may not be that relevant and it doesn't affect the board in any way.
Yeah, this is why I like sealed when it's best 2 out of 3 better, because like a lot of the things that you can do with Uzzu and sealed when it's 2 out of 3 is you can just change your deck completely in reserves. Be my opponent's playing a spider deck. I can bring in Cleave and Scion and Volsolov and any of my other spider hosers or whatever, because you can play anything in your entire pool at will after reserves.
Yeah, that's definitely something that keeps it very interesting. It's much more skill intensive, I'd say.
You probably put the Oculus in for 6 resource 4/4 flyer is fine.
Yeah, I always look at that guy in limited, and in draft it seems like there's just usually better things, but in a limited format like this, Oculus it becomes this big, roadblock that you just have a hard time getting through, and you can't target it. So hopefully it does enough for you. Like the only bad thing is when they attack into your Oculus, and you're like, well, do I block or don't I block? And then you block, and then they pump their guy, I guess. I mean, I guess that's the bad situation that you have to deal with. But I'm not really a big fan of Psionic Acolyte, but I understand that it is another roadblocky type of a card.
And it has Berry, which could be relevant.
Right, with the spiders. With the Incubation Webs and some of the other things that we've got in here. Yeah. I like the Nibblum as well. I think that's fine. Let's see. What else could we do here? Looking at constants. Let's go back to our Sapphire and Wild, I'd say.
There's Sapphire Infusion Device, which can be okay.
It does have a Smashodon. I mean, we could play a Smashodon, should be okay.
Yeah, Smashodon would be fine.
Because it's got the Crush, and like I keep telling people, there are two troops that in Wild are the ones that give the Spiders player, because everyone hates the Spiders player so much, that give them fits. And this is one of them, kind of, because he's targetable, but he has Crush, so he crushes right over your Spiders, and you can pump him, and he gets ridiculous. But he's targetable, so he's not as much of an issue. The other one is Snarl Brute, but it costs 7 for a 6/6 that's untargetable, but it doesn't have Crush. But the fact that it's untargetable completely negates the web guard that we put in here that we talked about dominating the game so hard.
Yeah.
So that I actually find the Snarl Brute to be worse for me to have to deal with. We can even play a Windspeaker, seems fairly good in here, because we can definitely get to Diamond easily if we need to. And it stalls the game out, which is what Spiders are really trying to do to begin with. So Windspeaker seems pretty good. We can maybe play the Thunderfield Seer. I'd stay away from playing a lot of the Thunderfield stuff in Limited, just because a lot of times my pool doesn't have a lot of actions, and I don't want to play a lot of actions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was that? The Wind? What was that guy called?
Windspeaker.
Windspeaker. I think. Yeah. This guy I think is amazing in this deck because we will be able to activate all of his stuff. We're gonna get to Diamond, even though we're not playing anything Diamond. But if we need to, we can get to it. If we happen to draw this guy, and then we can start exhausting our the really big troops. We can exhaust that brute that we talked about. Not the brute. The Smashodon. Speaking of which, we need to get him in here. Yeah, Smashodon I think is fairly good in here. Okay, so with that, we are right at 23. We do have the ramp to help us get to some of this bigger stuff. A lot of times in your limited play, like the games can go kind of slow. We are missing a decent. We've got okay removal, but it's not overly amazing. We've got the 2 incubation webs, a predator prey. What else have we got? We've got time flux, which is more tempo than removal. Oh wait, yeah, it's a tempo. The Lunacy is another one which we were back and forth about. That's probably one where I would maybe consider playing the other, what we just talked about, the Thunderfield Seer.
Or Thunderfield Seer.
Yeah. Maybe play the Seer. The funny thing is, if we do play that, then we've actually gotten rid of one card that it would have buffed.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's possible that we have enough playables that we can cut Windspeaker and just make this a Wintermoon deck.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? Because if you play Seer, you want to get the value out of it, and in order to get the value, you need to play it in Wintermoon. So I don't know if I think I'd prefer to just stay where we are because I feel like it's the safer place to be. Maybe even just play the 1 Vampire Kiss instead of playing, because that feels like that should be reasonably okay for us to get to if we need to, and it's removal. Compared to the Lunacy. I mean, it's basically the biggest issue we have with Lunacy is we aren't playing the Spider Champion, so we don't have a guarantee that we're going to put spiders on our opponent's deck.
Yep, Lunacy's fine to cut.
Yeah, I think that, and the other thing is, it just doesn't affect the board. All it does is put us ahead, and hopefully we can hold out long enough that we, draw less cards than our opponent does. So I don't think that it really does enough for us. And maybe the Vampire Kiss will do a little bit more as a one-of. And as you gain that next pack, that's when you can start maybe transitioning away from Uzzu.
Yep.
No, we're not.
Getting that first win in Evo is really important.
Yeah, and it seems like, pretty much everybody's going to be playing Uzzu on the first one around. But just... whenever, I think the biggest thing to look at is when you're playing Uzzu, the Bonewalker, and you're looking to splash in those other shards, just look for those 1 threshold quality pieces like the Vampire Kiss, which is going to gain us some health. We're going to hopefully kill something, or maybe even just finish the game out if our opponent's at 2 or less health.
Yeah, there's the Festering Decay too, which is probably reasonable if we wanted to play that as well.
Yeah, Festering Decay, additional Colossus, void a troop in your crypt. Target troop gets -3/-3. Yeah, and I'd say that's a fair piece of removal right there as well. I'd definitely play that. For 1? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, I'd go for it.
I usually play it in any deck I'm playing Blood as long as I have a reasonable number of troops, which I'm sure we do.
Yeah, I feel like.
Plus we have plenty of chumpers. Since we're going to be making spiders and stuff too, we should have no end to the troops in our crypt.
So we could probably get rid of the Arcane Focus here, I think. I think that's what we get rid of here to go back up to 17. Arcane Focus is great. Again, it's another one of those cards that's really much better in Wintermoon when we can shuffle it back in and then draw more cards off of it and that sort of thing. It helps us find things. It fixes us in bad situations at the beginning of the game. But I think we'll be okay without it. If I was to pick a card, I was between that and Time Flux, but Time Flux actually does things to the board, whereas the other one doesn't.
Yeah,
of course, another one I'm looking at is Verdant Chant. That's another one I'm looking at. Yeah, Verdant Chant is basically a 2/2 body and maybe a couple of bodies.
Maybe it'll create a couple more if you draw the Chanter as well.
Yeah, maybe.
It's fine. I mean, it's not great, but
yeah,
it does create a 2/2. So
it does make a 2/2. Like what we're really hoping for. We probably want more chance than this. Maybe the Chant. Maybe that's what we get rid of. 4 for a 2/2. I mean, but we're in limited. We need the bodies, and it gets us. So in this deck, the maximum bodies we can get with it is if we play it first, then we play another Chant, then we get basically we can get 3 bodies off of it. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that seems okay.
It's reasonable.
It's reasonable. Okay, so what do you think you cut here?
I think cutting the Arcane Focus is
Arcane
fine.
Focus. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll cut that. And now we get to basically do our shards, and I think we've got this limited deck tied up to where we need it to be. So another cool thing, I guess, is with the Charge Colossus, even though it's not bringing itself back to life with, what's it called, the champion, the Diamond Champion,
Yeah.
he does fix us for a lot of the other stuff we need to get to, possibly, especially if you happen to play, it's late in the game, you've already used your stuff to fix yourself, and you don't have it, and you have 2 chants hanging out in your hand because you played a Lyrical Chanter, and maybe you'll get to play those chants after you play your Charge Colossus. So it also buffs your Styrian Oration, and yeah, that sort of thing. Okay, so let's see, deck analysis and draw test. Oh, it's not giving it to me. Oh, there we go. So it looks like we're heavy and wild. Not a big surprise there. And then Sapphire and then Blood. So probably 1 Blood Shard. And we're pretty much splitting the difference on Sapphire and Wild. So probably just go 8 and 8 armies. I mean, would you go 1 more Wild Shard here, or what do you feel like?
I would judge based on what my early plays are. So if we have a lot more lower cost Wild than Sapphire, then I would probably lean more towards Wild. But I think our deck is mostly early Sapphire.
Well, we do have a lot of early Wild. We've got the Skirmisher, the Chanter, the Lyrist, the Cottontail Explorer, which is going to help fix us anyways.
Yeah, so I'd probably
Wild, yeah.
I'd lean towards Wild. Plus, we have the triple threshold Wild card, so
yeah. So let's go ahead and get our shards set up, and then we've got this limited deck all wrapped up for. Looks like it was for. I always forget people's names. Sbolz. Sbolz. Let's see. Type. We want to do resource. So I believe, let's see if he had, I don't think he had any special resources in here. He's got 40.
I didn't see any.
I didn't see anything special on his resources over here. Go ahead and take this off. No, he just has the normal resources. Okay, let's go back. So we just have regular resources. So we've got the 1 Blood, like we said, and then we're going to go with we were going to go with 8, but we'll go with 9 Wild Shards, which means we're going to go down to 7 Sapphire Shards here for this deck. And that should be it. I guess we could even do a draw test. We got about 12 minutes left in the episode here. I suppose we could talk about some of his matchups that you typically see and some of the things he could transition to, maybe, or choices he could make. I think you already kind of mentioned a lot of it.
Yeah. Again, for best of 1 limited, it's not really my. I play a lot of it just because it let me play with entering the set 3 packs, which I had tons more of compared to set 4 packs.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the best 2 out of 3 limited more.
Yeah. Let's see. So let's go back to his pool over here. Turn off just. So I think a lot of it's probably in the Ruby. I mean, you've got the Skewer, which if you decide to play Skewer, you would kind of need to pump up your shards to 3 at least in order to play that one. But Cleave is fairly good. Skewer is fairly good to bring in. Those are both good. Let's see what else have we got over here. Let's turn off the resource. Blood was another option with Periphagy as removal. Vilefang Thurge is okay for your. We are in spiders, and so it does a little bit of work there.
Our only spider generation is Incubation Webs and a Suffocate.
Yeah.
So, like, if we were playing like Spider Nest and Entangling Webs, which we did have in the pool as an option, then maybe it would be more potential. But
I mean, I suppose what you could do is just play the best of everything and play like almost an even amount of shards for everything and just hope that you get the right shards at the right time for some stuff. Because there is a decent amount of good blood stuff in here.
Yeah.
You know, we've got your
It was
Rockcast,
it was a little bit light on like
Arachnophobia.
troops.
Yeah, I mean you're
So
light on the troops, so you're kind of counting on the other shards for that stuff. Periphagy. Yeah, I think this format actually is probably one of the more taxing ones, especially right off the beginning, off the jump, for newer players to try to get into and build a deck because you just don't have a lot of great options. Gem Soul Feeder's another good one in Blood, so he has some okay stuff. I kind of feel like the Gem Soul Deathblade, there's probably one thing where he works really well. It's probably not limited. It's probably a constructed deck in which he's like fairly good, where it's like, oh, the
he'd
troops in my
be
graveyard.
he'd be fine if he hadn't been bugged for so long.
Yeah.
He was fixed on the PTR though, so
What's bugged about him? He wasn't getting the flight.
he
And the
wasn't getting
+1/+1?
flight.
No,
Yeah,
he wasn't getting flight.
like
That
his
stinks.
first bug was he would get +1/+1 in flight even if you didn't have a troop to discard.
Oh,
So like that was the first bug. Then they tried to fix that bug, and now that doesn't happen. But now he doesn't get flight.
right.
So, but he does get fixed on the PTR.
Okay.
So
Well,
that
that's
means
good.
when we get the ladder patch, she'll be fixed. Everyone will be happy. It'll work exactly as intended.
Yeah, but I mean, putting yourself down 2 cards for a 3/3 flyer. One of them's a troop. You're discarding a troop. I feel
Yeah,
like there's a specific
it's for, like, a reanimator
constructed
deck.
deck. Yeah, there's a specific constructed deck that wants to play this guy limited. It feels like maybe he could carry a game because you're doing 3 damage a turn, and so that's, you know, what is that, 7 or 8 turns before you kill your opponent. Maybe it could happen for you, but yeah, I'd have a hard time with that, believing that that would make it there. Like flyers are very popular. Everybody knows in limited, like flyers are like a bread and butter, like finish the game out, close the game out type of a card. And so you're either ready for them because you have enough removal, or you have something to block them, or you have your own flyers. Like there's pretty much only 3 different ways to do that, right?
Yep. Race them, kill them, or trade with them.
Yeah. Yep, pretty much that's it. So I think that we'll just go ahead and close out the episode here so we can do the giveaways. I think everyone would be happy for that. I can't think of anything else really to say about this pool. There's really not a lot to look at, which is nice in some ways. I
Yeah,
think we
that's
did
the
a
thing
fairly
about
good
most
job.
Evo pools is they're usually only going to lean in maybe 1 or 2 different ways. They're not as complex as a full sealed pool.
Right. And I don't see him in the channel. He said, so I'll go ahead and message him this later, so he'll have the deck list so he can continue on. I'm sure he's waiting with bated breath for this list. And I did tell him, yeah, I think he specifically told me he wasn't going to be able to watch it, and then he was happy that it was going to get syndicated out on YouTube. But that takes me 24 hours. I don't get that out until tomorrow. So okay, so let's go ahead and close out the episode. So tonight on Deck Build the Squire, Armies of Mordor came back. He's my all-time. He's the Angie Richter to my Conan O'Brien on the show, of course. We spent some time talking about the upcoming tournaments, the tournament season, and a lot of the constructeds are going to open up now, and more people should be playing, especially once the ladder starts. And the PTR was here, and now it's gone. It was this last week, so if you got to play on it, I hope you had a lot of fun. We also have, what else did we have coming up on the Hex update? We had of course, the VIP weekend this weekend, so hope that you guys are enjoying that. And of course, we've got the Pro Player Tournament coming up as well. I talked to you a little bit about a Cycle Winter Moon deck, which I'm going to maybe try out tomorrow. I'm going to look around and see what some other people are playing as well. I don't think I'm going to match up well against the field with this, but I do try to make it a habit of showing you the deck that I'm going to play the day before, so that way everyone can have one up on me, basically. They've seen the deck list. It doesn't usually change too much from the night before to the day of. And then we spent some time putting together this limited evolving gauntlet deck for Sbolz, one of my users who already won tonight. So he'll also get, I'll throw him something extra for submitting this idea. So make sure that you're getting out there and giving me ideas for things you'd love to see on the show. I want to make sure that I'm serving the community, that I'm doing it as much as I can for you guys. Because without you guys, I really wouldn't have a show. If nobody watched, then I would find something else to do. So I do appreciate all my viewers. And that was pretty much it for tonight. Armies, do you have anything else to close out on? Or anything you wanted to plug?
Going to Gen Con.
You're going to Gen Con, so you're going to see me so I can get you some drinks at Gen Con for all the shows that you've done for me?
As long as they're not alcoholic.
Okay, I'll get you, yes, I'll get you whatever you want. So, all right, yeah, I'll see you out there. I'll be working, hopefully. I'm a little bit worried because they haven't gotten back to me with the lodging, but of course we have a month and a half. But I will see you out at Gen Con. I'll see, of course, all the rest of you out at Gen Con. I already have my plane tickets booked, so worst case scenario, I end up having to buy my own Gen Con tickets and then booking a hotel last minute, which may be a little bit more expensive than I was planning for, but I do plan on being there, so there's that. That's pretty much it for tonight. So until next time, this is Aaron Squire signing off, saying God bless your families. Try not to race too much out there.
Armiesofmordor saying signing off.